College Jimbits fan going live on YouTube. This is the Joan Rivers Show, Season 2.
Season 2. Maury Povich. This hearty episode features television host Maury Povich, owner/publisher of Sister to Sister magazine, Jamie Forster, AIDS activist Allison Gertz, and fertility specialist Dr. Stephen L. Thorson.
See, like, somebody else posted the Maury Povich session, but they didn't post where Allison Gertz was on, so I'm going to put that on.
Please wait.
Let me put my iPad in my thing.
Live from New York, Joan Rivers.
Okay.
Good morning, and coming up live from New York, he hosts one of TV's hottest shows. He is happily married to America's most beautiful newswoman, or one of them, because I sometimes do the news too. And he has an affair 5 nights a week. Current affairs, Maury Povich. All right, awesome. This week's 5-part series is on babies, okay? Having them, raising them, training them, understanding them. Today we have a fascinating story of one baby who has 2 natural mothers. Figure that one out. Plus, you get People magazine? Ha ha ha. Well, Allison Gertz, the cover story, is with us today. We're the only show she's doing this week, and it's an incredible story. You won't want to miss it. Plus, last but not least, the reason I am never blue on Mondays, it's gossip.
This Maury Povich Allison Gertz was already posted by another viewer, but he just posted the Allison Gertz
Say what? So stay where you are, okay?
section. Okay, now I'm not really gonna post the whole show because I'm not interested. But I'm actually gonna show Allison Gertz on my segment, unlike the other person that
Your
just
program will
showed.
continue after this message.
Summers when you should be splashing.
Maury Povich, and that's all they would show. They didn't show the section of Allison Gertz. But even though I'm not gonna put the whole show, I am going to show the Allison Gertz segment.
More living, less shopping. Stitch Fix, personal styling for everybody.
Years old, and he and his wife have 2. Please come along. His
pretty, privileged, 24, she should be at the height of her life, dreaming of a career, a marriage, children, but her future has been forever changed. Allison Gertz is AIDS. Will you please welcome a very courageous young woman, Ali Gertz. Have a nice time.
Next, Valiant Victim. Now that's the segment of Allison Gertz.
As you can see from People magazine cover, Ali Gertz is young, pretty, privileged, 24. She should be at the height of her life, dreaming of a career, a marriage, children, but her future has been forever changed. Allison Gertz is AIDS. you please welcome a very courageous young woman, Ali Gertz. How does that sound? Like all Americans, when I think of a candidate for AIDS, I think of either friends of mine that are homosexual, or you think of people that have passed needles back and forth, drugs. You don't think of an upper middle class, educated young woman having AIDS. How did all this come about?
I think that it's really very important that I have gone public just to dispel those myths, because AIDS is a disease of all people, not poor, not gay necessarily, not drug using. It's our problem, all of us. When I was 16 years old, I had a crush on an older man who was a bartender at a club that I went to very infrequently. After about a year and a half of flirtation with this man, we said, well, where is this going? And we were together. At the time, I had suspicions about whether or not he was gay. I asked him, and he said no, he was not. 8 years later, I was diagnosed with AIDS and discovered that he had died.
Volume 41. Volume 42.
Never heard a word, because I stopped going out to clubs a long time ago and went on with my life and went to Parsons School of Design and was serious, you know, and grown up. And I lost touch with all of those people for the most part.
How did you find out you had AIDS?
I was very sick for several months with low-grade fevers and an upset stomach. And finally, when they didn't go away, my doctors put me in the hospital, and they discovered something in my lung, which we thought was cancer. And we went through the whole hell of thinking I had Hodgkin's disease or lymphoma, and I was worried about chemotherapy. And then they discovered that it was a certain type of pneumonia that attacks weak immune systems.
Right.
And that's how I was diagnosed.
But nobody thought in the beginning
Nobody had
you would
any
be
idea.
such an unlikely candidate.
I was one of the first women of my situation diagnosed, and that was when I realized that it was so important. It took them 2.5 weeks to diagnose me. I went through unbelievable tests.
What happens? Here you are, everything ahead of you, and a doctor walks in and says, Ali, it's AIDS.
Initially, I said, the first thing out of my mouth was, oh my God, I'm going to die. But while I was saying it, something hit me. I said, no, that's ridiculous. Don't say that. Don't say you're going to die. Never say die, you know. And I just fought back. I think I was in denial for a while.
What about your family? Are you an only child?
Yes, I am an only child. So it was very difficult.
And what did your dad do?
My father is in real estate.
And you live on Park Avenue, it's affluent,
Well,
happy.
they did, yeah. They don't live on Park Avenue anymore.
But it was a happy, affluent family.
Yes.
And how did they
It was earth-shattering, you know. But they have always been very supportive and very optimistic.
Now, you look wonderful. Are you taking the usual drugs, or are you taking
I was on AZT for
Right.
about a year and a half,
Usual treatment.
which is the usual treatment, and it is a long time to be able to tolerate the medication because it's very toxic. And in October of this past year, I had a very bad reaction to it and had to be taken off of it. Now I'm on an experimental medication called DDI, and it seems to be working very well.
because you look great? What about friends? When they first heard, guess what? How did you tell them? Did you just say,
Well,
did you tell them all, or did you
No.
wait and slip it in? Or?
I was so sick at that particular point after all that testing that 2 of my closest friends and my parents informed my friends what was going on. Naturally, they were devastated. People flew in from all around the country to be with me in the hospital. They were terrified that I was going to die.
What about now? It's a fact of life with you now that you've got it. Did all your friends come back? Have some just not been able to deal with it?
All my friends are with me. I did have one friend who always used to count on me for everything, and she had a lot of problems, and she felt that when I got sick, she could no longer count on me because my problems were so much bigger than hers. So she drifted off for a while, but she did eventually come back.
Well, we're going to go to commercial. I wanted to find out about, was there a boyfriend that you were having a relationship with at the time?
Yes.
Right? Let's find out what's happening to him, what's happening to your social life, and also, hey, pull yourself together, because you've got such a hold on yourself. You haven't had any terrible down periods? And
Of course I have.
Yeah,
I've had.
let's go to commercial, then we'll talk, because I don't want to miss anything. All right, we'll be right back. We're sitting here and talking, there's so many questions I want to ask you, and I'm going to jump around a little bit, and then we'll get back to your boyfriend. Lee. My daughter Melissa's almost your age, and we have a very close relationship, only child. But we have arguments. We had an argument this weekend about whether that she can get a convertible, you know, and all. But, you know, stupid parent arguments. No, you can't. Well, I'm going to work hard and get it, and you can't tell me. Yes, I can tell you, and your father, if he was alive, he wouldn't let you have it. I mean, terrible argument. Do you and your mother still have that kind of relationship that you can fight, or has it changed now because you're ill and your mother's almost frightened to argue with you, or you're frightened to argue with your mother?
I think when I'm lying in the hospital, my mother won't argue with me about anything.
Yeah.
But on a daily basis, looking as well and feeling as well as I have been, we do have the occasional mother-daughter spats. Yes. We have a very normal relationship, only I think it's a lot closer and a lot more open than most parent-child relationships.
Do you live with your parents now?
No, I live away from my parents. I've been living away from my parents since I was 19.
So now, what about having quote-unquote a normal life? You had a boyfriend. What happened when he found out that you had AIDS?
He was devastated. He was frightened, but he was there for me. We were together for about 2 months after I got sick, and we realized that it was really not going to work because fear got in the way.
What about now? Does fear get in the way now? Here you are, you're so good looking. You should be either dating or married or living with someone. Is that possible? Or do men just get very nervous and bad?
Most men are frightened naturally, but there are men who are not, and they're very special. They're very far and few between, but I really believe with all my heart that I will be able to fall in love and marry, and hopefully with medical advances be able to have children one day.
You said you were taking experimental drugs.
Yes.
How do you get them?
I happen to be very fortunate in the fact that I have been so public with my illness. I have a lot of connections. I think one of the biggest problems today is that there are so many people suffering from this disease who have no money and no connections and absolutely no way to get the drugs that they need to survive.
How much does it cost you? And is it covered by insurance?
The insurance covers a lot. My last hospital stay was less than 3 weeks, and it cost over $50,000.
Out of which, what does insurance pay?
Insurance, I don't remember how much they covered, but it was not the whole thing. You know, so when we're talking about my family being affluent, this kind of thing is an incredible strain on my parents. And I'm 24 years old. I'd like to be able to earn my own way and take some of the burden off of them. And I'm not employable right now, so you know it's difficult. Well, I'm working on my book. It's called Embracing AIDS, which is sort of a controversial title, but that's what I have done. I have embraced this disease. It has done magical things for my life. I can say honestly that my life has begun since I became ill. I've achieved so much more than I ever imagined was possible.
You're so smart. You said, or I was saying before the commercial, you've got such a handle on everything. There must have been downtimes. And do you ever wake up in the morning and go, oh, I've got AIDS?
Yes, I mean, sometimes I can remember some absolutely horrible nights where I couldn't sleep and I cried. And I remember the first time I saw a movie after I was diagnosed. It was a love story and there were children in it, and I just was sobbing through the whole thing. I thought, I'm never going to have that. I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to have children. My life is over. But I seem to have a propensity to bounce back really quickly. And the medical advancements are so wonderful. They're happening so quickly that the real key here is just to hang in there.
I was going to just hang in. Well, I just think you're incredible. I think you're wonderful. You look terrific. I wish you, as I wish for everybody, such health and happiness. And boy, things are happening quickly. Thank you so much for coming and for sharing it with us. People Magazine.
When we return, a current affairs man of the hour, Maury Povich.
My next guest has been called the king of tabloid television. Every weeknight he brings us stories about topless donut shops and talking dogs. All kinds of things. My daughter loves him because he went to the University of Pennsylvania, was kicked out, and came back to go, ha, ha, ha. Please welcome the host of A Current Affair, Maury Povich.
Come on, we got religion. That story ran about 3 years ago, top.
But you did that.
Now we do car washes.
But everything is fair game.
Of course.
And
You found that out, right?
And that's what makes it fun.
Of course. I mean, what you know, Barry Gordy's going to end up on TV denying everything this morning, right?
Diana Ross will be hiding that child for about 6 months, and then that's the only one you're sorry for. The
You
child.
only hope those things happen in the big months, like
Yeah.
sweeps months, November, February, July.
What was the biggest thing that happened on your show?
Well, lately, Donald Trump was the greatest. I mean, that was the best. I mean, that happened right in May. I mean, Ivana couldn't have done it any better. Right in the middle of May. You know how many Marla Maples workout videos were shown that month?
What was your big story that changed your...
Robert Chambers, Preppy murder, the so-called Preppy murder case in 1987 here in New York. I'd say turned it. It was a watershed for A Current Affair. We were just beginning to happen, as they say, and then his trial was just over. He was still an enigma, a puzzle. He hadn't talked, you remember, and he pled guilty right at the moment that the jury was deliberating. And we come out with this video that we had found where he was cavorting with a bunch of young girls at a slumber party. He tore off the head of a doll and mocked death.
Yeah.
And this had happened just as his trial was beginning. And basically the tape, as Jennifer Levin's family said later on, showed Chambers for the low life that he was.
And how do you get it? Because we try so hard, we run around, we ask everybody, you got anything we can show? And they all go, no.
Well, don't you? That's what television has become. I mean, America's funniest home videos. And, you know, it used to be in the news business, and basically I'm a news hound. We used to go all over the country, and we used to look for still pictures. You know, we used to ask the family. Now you walk into a home and say, what's your latest home video, please? Could you give it to us? We show the family, we show the wife, we show the kids, we show the husband.
Is there anything even sorry that you showed?
Well, we've done. Well, yeah, sure. Well, there's a bunch of. Seriously, we did a Jessica Savage piece one time, which was very bad, where a book had kind of laid bare Jessica Savage's personal life, and we gave her parents a chance to redeem the honor of their child, and that was the thrust of the show. And then in the middle of it, we showed a brief recreation that had a car coming up out of a canal, and it was gratuitous and superfluous. And then we realized that if we're going to recreate and dramatize, we have to be central to the story and have to make a point. So we learned a lot by that. But we did a lot of silly stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, we did a series called The Songs Elvis Would Sing If He Were Alive Today.
What's silly about that? We're trying to get an Elvis stand passed.
I used to say, I used to do a thing where I used to say to staff, I said, no UFO stories, please, no UFO stories. And then one time I walked in the morning, they said, well, we're going to do a UFO story. I said, what? I said, but we weren't doing any UFO stories. He says, front of the New York Times, they found UFOs in Russia. And in the front page of the New York Times, above the fold, here was a story about Russians seeing these Martians.
But it was the same stupid Russians and the same Americans. I saw it. How come they...
Maybe they were looking at each other.
They've never been spotted at Yale or Harvard.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but in the middle of an Iowa cornfield.
I saw it. I was milking the dog, and there it was. You are leaving Current Affair. Why are you leaving a hit show?
stupid. It's an act of stupidity, obviously. No, what happened years ago, and most people in the country don't know, I used to do talk shows.
Yes, yes.
With all due respect. And in fact, I did so many of them in cities around the country. One critic wrote that Povich is trying to go nationwide, town by town. It was very funny. But I had given them up to come up and do this show and gave up my news work in Washington. And I just kind of got regenerated. Art Buchwald years ago said, Povich has interviewed every single person in the world and asked them all the same question. I mean, it was that kind of burnout. But I'm now regenerated. I'm ready to go. And so a year from this September, I'm going to be on a current affair all this coming year. So
why did you tell them so fast? I mentioned on Carson, I was gone the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think current affair isn't going to like try to ease you out to find somebody else?
They've been. Well, look, Fox is like family to me. It's
Me too.
Oh boy.
Or you can hate your
I knew I was
family.
going to have trouble here. And I just read out Fox too, which is a book about Joan and the Fox company. Anyway, now Fox actually, I give Fox great credit in my life. I mean, they gave me back my family name. I could have gone through life being known as Mr. Chung.
Yes,
I mean, believe me.
For
You
those
got that, huh?
For those 6 of you out there, he's married to Connie Chung, who is adorable.
Yeah. By the way,
Too good
tonight.
for you, but go ahead.
Thank you very much. Even my parents say that.
Go on.
Because my father always says you married up, Maury. I can't believe it.
Does she make more money?
She used to make.
It must be, no. It must be very hard, don't you think?
Used to be much harder.
I mean, to marry, because you're both celebrities, you're both, I just keep talking.
I can't believe you let that go.
It's daytime, I
I
have
want to tell you something. I'd have never let that go on my talk show starting next September.
We've already lost the South. I said the word circumcision last week, and the numbers went, what? I was talking about women, though. But anyhow,
She used to make a lot more money than I did, and now she doesn't make that much more.
is it hard when you marry a woman and her income is this, your income is that?
Not if you don't have any money like me. I mean, yeah, it was very good. And you had a loving wife who kept you in the style you weren't even used to.
What about a family now? You were married before.
I was married before,
Did
and I
you?
have two marvelous daughters, who, by the way, one of them, Susan, is a very good friend of Allison Gertz, who you just had on.
That's lovely.
And in fact, we had a big party with Susan for her birthday a couple of weeks ago, and Allison was there. And that person that you just had on, those are the stories I think that you can do and I can do to really touch America, because those are the stories they can relate to. That's the story you as a mother can relate to.
Totally.
And that is courage. I mean, to me in this country, what she has done, Allison has most recently come out with her stories, is quite
And to go public.
And I think will do more good in the battle for AIDS than all the naysayers could.
What do you do? What is your charity? Like mine is cystic fibrosis besides AIDS.
I've done a lot over the years for juvenile diabetes. I've done, I kind of pick and choose. I believe that it's very important, and Connie believes this too, that we contribute in a very private way. It's a very strange thing. I don't lend my name to anything, because I think charities are very personal and very private, and we give that way. We don't like to be on heads of committees, and we don't like to be on, first of all, I hate honorary committees, because they just put your name there, and they say, that's all we want from you, and I say, well, that's not exactly what we do. That's not exactly what we do.
Everything that you want to do is fine, because I think you're adorable separately, if you're adorable together.
Can I say one plug?
Sure.
Tonight, 10 o'clock, CBS, face-to-face with Connie Chung.
That's,
Midnight. I'm going back on a current affair August 6th after they stop. We've been having a lot of substitutes.
sure,
great
of
people
course
giving.
you're going to get substitutes. You're a fool. You should have talked to me first. I'm telling you, you better wear buttons.
August 6th, I'm back on a current affair.
And you know what? Every time the camera hits you, make faces so I remember you.
You are the
Come
best.
back anytime.
Thank
It's
you
so
so
good
much.
to have you
Thank
back.
you.
We'll be right back.
Coming up next, a miracle baby, his dad, and his two natural mothers.
In main menu, home button, 1 of 8. 68 channels.
See, actually, just recently, somebody posted the Maury Povich segment of the Joan Rivers show, and he was talking about Allison Gertz, but she was never shown. Well, I found in one of my cord cutting apps the season 2 episode of Joan Rivers show, and I actually had the whole show, but I didn't, put the whole show on YouTube. I just put the Maury Povich segment and the Allison Gertz segment. Hit the big red button and subscribe. Peace out, YouTube.